You ever get that feeling that you've been gently guided toward a decision, but you can't for the life of you figure out how? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on an incredibly powerful form of influence, one that works in the shadows. We're talking about a type of control that doesn't feel like control at all, and it all starts with one simple but kind of mind-blowing idea. This right here, this is the key to unlocking everything we're about to talk about. It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? But it's so true. See, the most effective influence isn't loud, it's not aggressive. Nope, it's quiet, it's subtle, and a lot of the time it's completely invisible to the person being affected by it. Okay, so how in the world are you supposed to spot something that's designed to be invisible? Well, the trick is to look for what's missing. Let's break down the missing pieces that make this whole thing so hard to pin down. First up, and this is a big one, there are absolutely no direct commands. Nobody's telling you do this or you have to. The entire game is set up to avoid that natural resistance we all have when someone gives us an order. And there are no threats. You'll never hear an or else. This type of influence doesn't need to rely on something as clumsy as fear. It uses a much more sophisticated toolkit. And finally, the whole vibe is just calm. There's no yelling, no obvious anger, no emotional arm twisting, and that's exactly why it works so well. It's completely disarming. It just strolls right past all the defenses we have against being controlled. So what do we call this? This is what we're calling silent influence. It's really the art of making you believe 100% that you're making a free choice, when in reality, the path was already paved for you long before you even showed up. Now, this doesn't just happen by accident. Oh no, there's a method to the madness. It's a carefully executed playbook that unfolds in 3 distinct steps, and each one builds on the last to totally shape your perception. And here they are: attention, observation, and framing. So first, you grab control of what a person sees and hears. Second, you just sit back and watch. You see how they react, you identify their needs, their weak spots. And third, you use all that intel to frame their conclusion for them. Let's really dig into each one. Step 1 is all about attention, because whoever controls attention controls perception. Simple as that. And this kind of flips our whole idea of power on its head. It's not about being the loudest person in the room. Actually, it's the exact opposite: silence. Silence creates a kind of gravity. It makes people lean in. When your words are rare, they feel important. They carry more weight. Next up is observation. And you gotta understand, this is a patient game. The influencer isn't in a rush. They're basically a data scientist. They're watching your patterns, noting your insecurities, clocking what you need validation for. But, and this is so important, they never call you out on it. They just file it all away. And then, at just the right moment, when you're feeling vulnerable, they swoop in with support. And just like that, trust is manufactured. And that brings us to the final and honestly the most powerful step: framing. This is where all that observation, all that data gets put to use. It's how you're guided to a conclusion that was decided on long ago. So think about the difference here. A direct command is obvious. It's statements, it's orders. But subtle framing, it's a whole different animal. It uses questions to get you thinking along a certain line. It slowly, almost imperceptibly, repeats ideas over time until they just feel familiar. They feel true. It's not about changing the facts, it's about changing how you see the fact. And here's the psychological cheat code behind it all. Our minds are just naturally wired to resist being told what to think. We push back. But we are incredibly open to ideas we believe we came up with ourselves. Framing lets the influencer plant the seed of an idea and then step back and let you discover it. And once you think it's your idea, you become its biggest champion. Okay, so we've looked at the cold, hard mechanics of this playbook, but to really get why it's so powerful, we have to look at it from the inside. What does it actually feel like to be on the receiving end of all this? Which brings up the big question, right? If there are no threats, no orders, no yelling, why is this method so devastatingly effective? And there's your answer. This is the masterstroke of the whole operation. Because the influencer has spent all that time just watching you, their suggestions and guidance feel perfectly in sync with your own thoughts, your own needs. You don't feel manipulated. You feel seen. You feel deeply and truly understood. And this is where it gets really dangerous. Because when you believe someone truly gets you, your loyalty to them becomes fierce. You start defending their ideas like they were your own. You, in effect, become the guardian of your own manipulation.
I know, that all sounds pretty terrifying, right? But here's the good news. There is a fundamental weakness, a fatal flaw in this entire system, and understanding it is the key to protecting yourself. So let's talk about how to break this silent pattern.
The entire architecture of silent influence depends on one single thing: you not knowing it's happening. It can only work in the dark. So your most powerful defense is actually pretty simple. All you have to do is turn on the light. Awareness is the antidote.
Seriously, just think about it. The second you notice that one person is always quiet until they can say the most impactful thing, or the moment you realize someone only seems to offer help only when you're at your absolute lowest, or you start hearing the same guiding questions over and over again, poof, the pattern is broken, the magic trick is exposed, and that influence just melts away. Look, the goal here isn't to make you paranoid or to make you distrust everyone. Not at all. It's about giving you clarity. It's about seeing interactions for what they really are, so you can navigate your life with your eyes wide open.
So at the end of the day, remember this: you don't fight this kind of control by trying to overpower it. Your strongest, your simplest, and your most effective defense will always be your own awareness. And that really just leaves us with one final thought to take with you. Now that you know the architecture, the whole playbook of attention, observation, and framing, what patterns in your own world are you going to start to notice?